Hello, political vigilante. Boom, right there. My name is Graham Elwood. So there's been, and I just want to give you some updates on that, what has been going on. Basically, the protests, it says here, at least 104 people have killed and over 6,000 wounded in less than a week of anti-government unrest, Interior Ministry says. So what the protests are, I'm going to go into the details here, and I'm going to show you a video that's reported I got from Al Jazeera, because they're kind of covering it over here, but not really. What they are basically is anti-government protests. They're not getting social services. They're not getting all of this stuff. And it's a government that who put in place? Oh, right, the United States put into place. And I've been to both countries. I've been to Iraq and Kuwait. And Kuwait is a country that has a lot of oil, just like Iraq. But it's pretty safe and nice, and they have a lot of money there. Kuwaitis have a lot of money. And Iraq could have that, but it's deliberately kept in turmoil. It's deliberately kept in turmoil. So here's what was reported on by Al Jazeera, just because what has happened is the government has, again, a government we've put into power, has blocked internet usage, it's blocked media coverage, so they're trying to shut down, to just say, oh, we got it squared away. And they've shot rubber bullets into the crowds, real bullets into the crowds. And this is like, but people have been able to get out cell phone video footage, and Al Jazeera picked it up. So here it is.
Despite the internet being cut off across most of the country, Iraqi protesters have found a way to upload videos onto social media sites that appear to show live fire and tear gas clouds. These are pictures Iraq's government doesn't want you to see. They paint a picture of what's happening on the ground and help explain why there have been many deaths and injuries over the past few days.
The protesters are not holding anything in their hands except for Iraqi flags. They're calling for the most basic of rights, employment and services. We need safety and an amnesty law that takes people out of the secret and public prisons. Iraq has become full of secret prisons. The authorities are building prisons only. They're not building hospitals or schools.
It's relatively better now the curfew has been removed. I hope that decisions made by the head of parliament and the Prime Minister are applied on the ground, because the Iraqi people have become bored of all the promises. We hope that these decisions are applied.
The protesters are angry over what they say is government corruption and lack of access to basic needs. A curfew that's been in place in Baghdad has now ended, but the situation is still tense. Despite the lifting of the ban here in Baghdad, Tahrir Square, the focal point for the protesters, is nowhere near as busy as it should be. As you can see, there's a big, heavy security presence. Now, what the protesters are doing is they're gathering in streets around Tahrir Square, which is what they've done in the last few days. What they're trying to do is get a critical mass together and come into the square. The protests are not just in the capital, but across the south and central part of Iraq. And now there's also a political crisis brewing. On Saturday, Parliament was to convene for an emergency session to discuss the protests. It never met. 3 major political blocs refused to let their members of Parliament sit. Iraqi law requires a minimum number of MPs to be present before a session can begin. Instead, the Speaker of the Parliament, Mohammed al-Habousi, held a meeting with people who claimed to represent the protesters. Late on Saturday, he held a news conference surrounded by his party loyalists. It looked more like a campaign rally than a press conference, and with calls for an election from protesters and other parties, al-Habousi set out a range of economic reforms and social reforms he says his party will introduce.
Loans will be given in the form of credits. Bank credits be initiated for the purposes of establishing factories and providing equipment. This will enable us to steer away from any corruption. So facilities will not be given in cash loans, yet will be credit for the establishment of factories.
The Speaker is not alone in trying to appeal to the protesters. Iraqi politicians of all stripes and religious leaders appear to be throwing their support behind the protest movement. But it's not clear if the protesters will accept them, given the fact that they blame the same politicians for the dire economic situation that sparked their protests in the first place, and the government for violent scenes like these.
Well, Imran joins us live now from Baghdad. So, Imran, what's the mood there on the streets right now?
Well, we've seen protests take place here in Baghdad in the early hours of the morning. Once again, shots have been ringing out. Live fire has been used. We've also heard about protests in the rest of the south of the country. In fact, in Nasiriyah, and this is very interesting, what the protesters did was not just attack government buildings, but they attacked political party headquarters, which they burnt. And now in Nasiriyah, they're chanting, Nasiriyah is free of political parties. And that's crucial because there is a political crisis brewing here as well. A lot of the opposition politicians, a lot of the religious parties are taking a look at this protest movement, and they're thinking to themselves, it's not going away. If anything, it's getting bigger and more popular, and they're trying to appeal to the protesters. In my report there, you heard Mohammed al-Halbousi, the Speaker of the Parliament. He's been even more explicit in the last few hours, saying that he wants to join the protest movement. Now, whether the protest movement actually take him to heart, considering they actually blame politicians of all hues for the problems, remains to be seen. But what we're seeing now is the biggest challenge to Prime Minister Adel Abdul Mahdi's year-old government. He's appealed for calm. He wants the protesters to give him a chance to put in place reforms that he says will change things. That's not good enough for the protesters. So what it feels like is that we are seeing Iraq's politicians, Iraq's religious parties, see a sense a change in Iraq, and they're looking to see what they should do next. And it seems to me, and it seems to a lot of Iraqis, that they're actually going to try and support the protest movement.
All right, Imran Khan, live for us there in Baghdad. Thanks, Imran.
So look, you saw the rioting on the streets, and I mean, this is like a common theme we've heard all over the world. People are not getting what they want from a government that's corrupt, and this government, the oil money, like Iraq could have the life that people have in Kuwait, but we just keep interfering. It's all we've been doing. We've been interfering since what, the 80s? I mean, like, so the Saudi-owned Al Arabia news channel said masked gunmen who arrived in black cars wearing black clothes stormed the offices of the television station, attacked some employees, and smashed equipment before fleeing the scene. Right? That's one of the things that's been happening. But the system needs to change. What do the Iraq protesters want? Protests over lack of jobs, services, government corruption erupt in Baghdad and quickly spread to other Iraqi cities, killing dozens. Right? That's what the people want. You just heard that 5 minutes, you saw it. And again, when we went in there, when George Bush lied about weapons of mass destruction to get us into an illegal war in Iraq, well, now he's going to football games with Ellen and he's all cute now because he's not as bad as Trump. Awesome. Awesome. I love the neoliberal logic of just like anything not Trump good. Trump bad, anything not Trump good. So George W. Bush, who's a war criminal, is now cute and cuddly because he's sharing popcorn in a luxury suite with Ellen at a football game. Boy, that's the Hollywood neoliberal, man. So always got our backs. Always got our backs. Since Saddam Hussein was toppled in 2003, U.S.-led invasion power has been shared among Iraq's three largest ethnic sectarian components: Sunnis, Shiites, and the Kurds. And ISIS, boy, ISIS came back under the Obama. Come on, man. Do we trust any of these people? Do we trust any of these people? Anytime we put some government in power, some country, it's always... Saddam Hussein wouldn't, you know, we backed him in the Iraq-Iran war in the 80s. Right? And then he started to say, I'm going off the petrodollar. And then, all of a sudden, he was a bad guy. He was doing all the awful stuff. It's like the Shah of Iran was torturing his own people. Well, we loved him because he was giving us his oil. We've created so much chaos. All the money we've spent in Iraq, all the money was trillions of dollars. 1 million Iraqis dead, thousands of Americans dead, tens of thousands of Americans wounded, PTSD, whatever. And shouldn't this country be like All that money spent, oh, we should be sitting here going, man, Iraq, I just visited it. It's a vacation spot. It's cool. The countries are working together. We help. No, because we didn't go there for good reasons. We didn't go there for noble reasons. We didn't go there like World War II to free the Iraqi people. No, we went there for oil and we fucked it up. And now we let ISIS come back into power. And then we had to, and then more war. We got to keep fighting ISIS. Got to drone strike ISIS. Keep the machine. Obama pulled troops out of Iraq, but then kept this never-ending special operations drone strike war. Never-ending war. And this is what they've got. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for getting your news on YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button, even if you've done it before. My subscriber numbers have actually dropped by several hundred. They're unsubscribing me at an alarming rate. YouTube, which is run by Google, which has been working hand in glove with the intelligence community since about 2010, does not want this message out. I go to Russia. It's weird. When I start posting all these videos about how cool it is in Russia, oh man, all of a sudden my numbers start really dropping. You see that? So like, subscribe, share these videos, watch the ads all the way through. When you click skip ad, I don't get paid. And support me, please, at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. Share the videos out there. Hit the subscribe button, even if you've done it numerous times, and hit the bell notification button. I do every Sunday, 3 p.m. a live chat, and I will be doing live post-democratic debates. I'll do a live chat with a panel of people. That'll be October 15th, and Political Vigilante Game Show live October 20th. Excuse me, 22nd. Live streaming that once again. Go to GrahamElwood.com for all my tour dates. Thanks for watching.